you do here. One is reduce the amount of time that you're breathing unhealthy air by going inside, especially when the skies are thick with smoke. Continuously monitor the air quality outside, not just by looking outside and seeing how it looks, but you can go to todaysair.mt.gov, or you can just Google Montana air quality, and you'll get to the air quality information, and you'll see what the air quality monitoring is in Gallatin Valley. There's one in West Yellowstone and other places. The other thing we're asking you to do is check on your neighbors, be good neighbors, reach out to people that are out there, make sure we're doing what we can. The other thing I wanted to talk about today is mental health. We're here completely in a supportive role. As I said, the Incident Command asked me to be here to talk about a couple of health issues. Those brave folks are out there, the firefighters, law enforcement are out there battling that fire. We're already planning for how we're going to recover from this. As we move through that, we've heard about structures going down. We've heard about there's going to be a pretty heavy impact on this. The impacts of wildfire often go beyond smoke and flame and the fire itself, and this is a tough time. This is stressful for the people who are fighting the fire. It's stressful for people who have been displaced. It's stressful for the entire community sitting and watching that smoke waft over the bridgers. I've been talking today to the Red Cross. I've been talking to the school districts. I've been talking to behavioral health professionals. What we're advising, individuals and families who have been displaced from their home can access services, including mental health support, through the Red Cross by calling 1-800-272-6668. I talked to the local director of the Red Cross today, and she advises that if you've been displaced, if you have any needs related to your home and your residence, to call 1-800-272-6668. For all the rest of us who are dealing with this, and it's a difficult situation, we're sitting here, we feel helpless, we want to help. We're watching the bridges that we all love burn. This is also a difficult situation. For those folks who are affected by that, it might be anxiety, it might be trauma, it might be something else. It can have impacts on existing mental health conditions. It can have impacts on existing family dynamics. We would encourage you to call 211. 211, the help center, they're very well versed and very well practiced at connecting people to mental health services based on what their particular situation is. And that can be anything from somebody you just need somebody to talk to somebody who's in full-blown crisis, to dial 211, and they'll be able to connect people to those mental health services. Again, the health department is here today in a supportive role. As we move forward, we're going to be continuing to put information out there. Anybody who wants any of the information I just shared can go to healthygallatin.org. We have those numbers and we have those access points. I'm happy to take any questions, and I'll hang around as well if not right now. Good? Okay, thanks.
Thank you, Matt. Excellent information, especially as it relates to public health, so really thank you for covering that. We do have a question online for the sheriff, so I'm going to go ahead and kick it back to Brian.
Yeah, Sheriff, could you please explain the difference between an evacuation warning and evacuation orders?
So, yeah, that's actually a great question. It used to be called an evacuation warning, and then I made that change because everybody gets keyed in on evacuation, even whether it's a warning or an order. So from now, that's why we go warnings, that's it, period, warnings. That's the first thing that we're going to do when we meet with people out there, which is what we did yesterday morning and the night before. And then yesterday afternoon, we were doing evacuation orders. So it's either a warning where you don't have to go, but you ought to be getting your stuff ready. We give them the packets that explains to them what to get ready, where to listen, do all of that stuff. That's the warning. And then when you see, and we tell you, when the next time you see us, it's not good. And that's when it's time to be getting stuff and get out. And what I've told our deputies is when we're giving those orders, like they were yesterday going into that smoke, driving through that stuff, when we're telling those people that it's time to get out, we're not coming back because we can't, because we have so many other people to get to. And that's how serious it is. So warning, evacuation order.
have a question for Corey or for Caleb. Can we talk about the division, the structure division, and the work that's happening within that area, the fire?
Yep, question online in regard to the divisions on the fire, especially as it relates to some of the structures and houses. So I'm definitely gonna hand out back to Caleb.
So yeah, today we broke up the fire in two areas. One is this area over here we call Division Whiskey, that is the west side of the fire. And this is where we have a handful of resources trying to keep the fire where it's at over there. And then we have the Structure Division, which is the rest of the fire pretty much. And really they're focused on point source protection, which means that they are engaged in protecting structures throughout that area. I can't really get into exact, specific details, but they are working this entire area at different times based on the needs and safety and availability of resources. And so they're going, they've got, pretty specific plans in place as to how that goes, but they are also reacting to changes in the environment. So it's constantly changing exactly where they're going. And, but the big picture is that they are actively engaged in protecting those structures.
Caleb, coming back to fire spread and the direction, folks are concerned in Livingston, they're seeing the smoke. Can you talk about the proximity to Livingston a little bit and in association with the fire spread?
So, yeah, we are engaged with Park County as well, as one of our cooperators. It's still a little ways out from the Park County line, which I think on this map it's right here. Oh, actually it's right here, sorry. There's the Park County line is right here, so it's still a few miles out from the Park County line. But we are engaged with those folks. As far as Livingston proper, you're down here off the map. I would say there's not likely very many major threat to Livingston proper at this point in time. Our models do show possibilities of it within the next 7 days, depending on our future weather, moving into Park County. So, I understand some of the confusion around fire growth, but it really is not in any specific direction. Even the other day when we had the blow up, it moved in multiple directions. So we are looking at a 360-degree, area around the fire for possible fire growth. I'll bring it back to that we are at 0% containment. So we're still really focused on the people and protecting values and people at this point. And as we get more resources and fire behavior and stuff changes, we'll be able to actually start corralling and putting the fire out. But that's kind of where we're at right now.
Last question, Caleb. Can you talk to us about air support, what we have and what the activities are today?
So the air support is also dynamic as far as exactly what we have at any given point in time. It fluctuates, but this is a pretty high priority fire, so we have been successful in getting and maintaining a pretty good level of air support. We've had very large air tankers, large air tankers, single engine air tankers. We've got multiple heavy helicopters, and we've been engaging those all day today. We have what's called an air attack, which is an aerial supervision platform. They fly way up high and they look at all the other aerial resources and try to keep those folks safe and separated and engage them in the most efficient manner across the fire. They started at about 9 o'clock this morning, and as soon as they got up, they started working very large air tankers. At that point, we were working 4 of them. And I can't recall the exact number of Type 1 and Type 2 helicopters. We have multiples of each of those also working right now.
Thanks, Caleb, and to emphasize Caleb's comments in regard to Park County, we are engaged, very engaged with Park County. Of course, our sheriff from Gallatin County is engaged with them, and they were here just a little bit ago, face to face, talking about plans and just making sure we're all on the same page. So we're keeping very close coordination, and they are fully engaged with the incident. On that note, we're going to go ahead and move on to our next speaker, also with Gallatin County. I'd like to welcome and introduce Kevin Larson.
Thanks, Corey. I'm Kevin Larson, Operations Manager with Gallatin County Emergency Management. Just really quick, yesterday in particular, it's a sad day for our community. There's quite a bit of loss, but it's also a proud day. I have the privilege of working with one of the most amazing organizations our community has, and a lot of people aren't aware of it, and that's a COAD. COAD stands for Communities Organized After Disaster. Built mostly of nonprofits. It's a volunteer group that meets frequently. I'm in a position of kind of organizing and coordinating those efforts, and we have functional areas in donation management, volunteer management, mental health coordination, and a few other areas. And that group is fully stood up right now. We're accepting donations. We're trying to push all the donation management through that group. Salvation Army is the lead in that effort. So inquiries can go there. Sheriff Gukin alluded to it a little bit earlier. Our capabilities to take in donations right now are almost overwhelmed. We have more food, water, Gatorade than we know what to do with. We never want to be in a position of turning away offers of goodwill and donations. However, we're in a position now where we can barely find room to keep those things. We're going to put some information out there through 211 of how our community can best support this incident and the response to it. Specifically, there are two things that we are looking for, and we want to put the word out for volunteer management. The website volunteermt.org. That will be a website which can contain both needs and offers of assistance from volunteers. And then just today, just a little while ago, we do have a donation website that is up and running.